We Are So Not Straight would like to acknowledge that the recording of this podcast takes place on the unceded traditional territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh First Nations. Welcome to We Are So Not Straight,
the podcast where two drag sisters talk about everything curvy, swervy, and crooked.
We are your hosts, Michaela
and DJ, and we are so happy you're tuning in.
Okay,
Girl,
I'm just going to say, on my side, that sounded exactly right, so that probably means that we're off, but that's okay.
Okay, you start, I said my, and we are, and that's when you started.
Oh,
but
see,
it records from both sides.
Like, we were both, I heard it differently, but you know what? That's fine. It's all good.
Alright, anyways, we are so happy to be back with another exciting episode of Season 2.
But before we get into that, we just want to clarify a couple of things.
First off, drag is art, and art is subjective.
And all forms of art are valid.
And second of all opinions stated in this podcast are our opinions and our opinion alone.
That means DJ's and mine. Nobody else's, just DJ's and mine.
Maybe some Twitter sound in there. No, I'm kidding. I'm
kidding. My gosh.
All opinions are our own.
It's just ours. We are going to start our podcast off with an update on our Drag Race Season 15 draft. Draft. That would have been even funnier if you'd fallen out of your chair while you did it. I'm just saying.
Dead. I was like, oh, too far.
Anyways, thanks for that lovely echo that was delayed and beautiful.
You're
but
welcome.
It's fine. Anyways,
listen, like I said, I have a big house. Okay. So we are officially at the halfway point for Queens. Michaela, can you believe that we are 8 down and 8 to go?
No, I am absolutely shocked. You told me right before we started filming that we were like halfway through the season, and I was like, what do you mean we're halfway through the season?
Also, don't we go back to an hour episodes next week?
Oh my gosh, we do. You're right.
Because today is March 3rd, the day of recording this. So technically the new episode comes out tonight, but that's just how we film. So if you didn't see it, if you don't know, we got cut to 45-minute episodes. It was literally an attack of homophobia by gays.
Try having a ball where you have so many different outfits.
Literally everyone walked right on and then walked right off. There was no... Georges couldn't do her shimmy if she even wanted to.
Georges?
But you know how Georges did her little... everyone was taking their times on the runway and Georges did her little shimmy.
We're on season 15,
in season 14. She did her little...
Yeah.
On the runway. There is no time for that. We are not getting any shimmy here. Not on this shimmying. Date. But yeah, we're going back to 1-hour episodes next week, so that'll be greatly appreciated. Maybe we can get to know some people.
That would be lovely.
On episode whatever the hell we're on. Okay, so these are the draft scores, and I only have one queen left.
That is true. DJ only has... Well, you just spoiled it. You were supposed to put the little countdown. You forgot to count down. Why didn't you count down?
Alright. Yeah, I technically didn't say who yet. So, obligatory spoiler warning in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Unfortunately, we lost fan favorite Spice last week. Kind of heartbreaking, to be honest, and also Spice should have stayed, but that's just my opinion.
Well, I agree with that. I mean, I'm sorry, but I feel like this was a week for Spice that was not deserved to go home. I'm sorry.
I also don't think her last disco ball dress was horrendous like Michelle made it sound.
I didn't hate it. I thought it was cute.
Okay, yeah, she doesn't sew. That's a fault. But for a non-sewer, it was serviceable. It was like Tia Coffee's green dress on UK, you know? Like,
see, I was
Tia's
gonna
dress
say
was...
it reminded me. The unfortunate thing though is it reminded me of how Juice Box used the mirror pieces for her outfit, and so now I'm kind of like, maybe it was bad. I don't know. I actually, but
okay, but then Lux doesn't get a pass for
delusional
literally having
Michaela
a hot
here.
glue stick skirt.
Well, no, let me finish. I was gonna say delusional Michaela here because I actually didn't hate Juice Box's outfit either, so I don't know.
And Michaela's address is 5432.
Oh, stop.
Canadian Way.
Canadian Way.
I don't know.
5432 Canadian Way. Yep, that's where I am, y'all.
Yep. 5432 Canadian Way, no. Ew, I hated that. Cut that out.
I'm not cutting that out.
These people want to listen to the draft scores. Let's get into those. So Sasha Colby has a score of 33. Mistress Isabel Brooks has a score of 34. Anitra has a score of 31. Lux Neward London has a score of 28. In a shocking turn of events, Marsha has a score of 35. Malaysia Baby Doll Fox has a score of 14. Lucy LaDuca has a score of 34. And because Selena was just recently subbed in, she has a score of 0. Not a
goose egg.
Zip. I was gonna say goose egg, but it didn't feel. I didn't understand that phrase for like a good 6 years of my life.
Oh, dude.
Like, people would say it to me, and I'd be like, huh? Like, what?
You're like, what does that mean?
I'm like, what about a bird?
I would like to ask you, what do you mean by in a shocking turn of events, Marsha has 35 points? Excuse me?
I was not expecting her to be the leader of the pack in points.
Hey, I'll take it. She's on my team, so.
Now on to the, like, team totals. Big shocker here, Team Minx has a score of 80. Not far behind, though, is Team Trouble with a score of 77. Team Lilith is in third with a score of 64. Mistress is really carrying my team on her back right now. And Team Joey and Connor have a score of 58.
Poor Team Joey and Connor.
Lucy has a score of like 34. I don't know. But I guess Lucy and Malaysia have kind of been middle high, so there wasn't a lot of going up, you know?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I get it. I'm now 3 points behind Nathaniel. I was 1 point behind Nathaniel. Now I'm 3 points behind Nathaniel.
Also, Nathaniel has added wrong in some places, I will say that.
Well, yeah, but I was just going to say one thing that helped me this week was that all of Nathaniel's team's mates cried. Every single one of them had at least one moment where they cried, which means they lose a point. So, that worked out in my favor.
Yeah. So yeah, that's where we're at. New episode coming out tonight. So we shall see.
It'll already be out by the time that this podcast comes out, but the day we're filming this, it comes out tonight.
So I hope you guys are enjoying this. We are, and we've been kind of toying around with the idea of doing it for other shows. Drag Race kind of fits it the best because Dragula can be a little hard to like really anchor in some rules because they switch things up. But also if we get a Call Me Mother season 3, I have a feeling we'll be able to do it. Fingers crossed, y'all. Cause
I would love to be able to do this for Call Me Mother season 3. That would be so fun.
I know. But anyway, yeah, that's gonna do it for us on this segment. So over to the next. I think there's an interview next, right?
Yeah, I'm really excited that we have one of my local drag performers, Karmella Barr, on the podcast this week. You heard a little clip of their interview in our last week's episode, if you listened to that. And if you didn't, why haven't you listened to it? Please go listen to it. But anyways, after you finish this one, of course. But we had a wonderful time interviewing with Karmella Barr. They are running for a title called Empress 51 with the Dogwood Monarch Society.
Empress is a gender-neutral term for a higher-up, if you're confused, kind of like I was. So there's that.
But yes, we are so not straight. We had a conversation with them last week, and we endorsed them for Empress. So hopefully they won. I'm hoping and praying and really hoping that that's what happened. And if not, then I don't know what happened.
If not, it was rigged.
Yeah, if not, it was rigor mortis. But if so, then
Morris, who's Morris?
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, we also had a really great interview with them last week, so you are about to listen to that. So here we go.
For this week's very special episode of Let Me Introduce You, we have the one, the only, they're so sweet, they just might give you a cavity, Karmella Barr.
Hi.
Yay!
Hello.
Oh my gosh. Yay! Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to have you on the podcast. Finally, we've been trying so hard to get you on the podcast, and I'm so excited it's finally happening. Oh my gosh. Finally happening. It's so exciting. Thank you, DJ, for that lovely serenading.
You're welcome. With these pipes, honey, Ariana Grande is quivering.
Oh, honey.
Ariana, sweetie, I am so sorry.
Oh my goodness. Oh, yes, no, I said to DJ, I was like, one person that we have to have on the podcast is Karmella Barr, because they are one of the sweetest people that I've ever met, and I just like love talking to them, and I just think that everybody needs to hear all about them. So because of that, speaking of that, let's go back a bit. How did you get into doing drag? What is the background of Karmella Barr?
That's actually really funny. So I used to be a reporter for like a queer news outlet, kind of. It was called Outlook TV, and I used to cover some random events around Vancouver. And VNDS, actually, I can't remember, I believe it was 2014, I was able, like, I wanted to secure the drag, because I was like, drag, what's this? How fun. And I wanted to secure that gig, and like no one wanted to take it up, and I'm just like, oh, obviously I'll do that, like, why not? And I got to interview all the finalists and like just be behind the scenes. And I was like, holy crap, this is like a draggy version of Toddlers and Tiaras. Like, it's super cool. And like just seeing all the performers getting ready and like the showgirl sort of aspect of it was so cool. And I was like, I am going to do this. Like, I have to do this. This solidified it for me. And then the next year I submitted my name and made it to round 2. Didn't win, but I didn't realize how much work it was. Like, I just wanted to make a splash and just, like, do the thing. And then the challenges started to come, which is part of a competition, as we may know. So that definitely wasn't something I was prepared for. But then, yeah, I did that. And then sort of came back the next year after that. So that was 2016. And like, I kind of knew what to do. And yeah, we continued on. We thrived, darling.
Yes.
We thrive. We survive. We thrive. We live. It's all good.
Oh,
Live, laugh, love, everyone. You hear that?
Yes.
Yes. Period. For people who don't know what VNDS is, by the way, that's Vancouver's Next Drag Superstar. It's a big competition that happens in Vancouver, where Karmella and I are from, and it's actually happening right now. Funny enough.
That's wild.
And so that's really cool that was like the history of kind of thing. How did you come up with the name Karmella Barr too? That's the other thing that I wanted to know.
So there's 2 parts to it, and I'll give you the like cute part first, and I'll give you the stupid part after. So the cute part is I was just like, ooh, like I want to be something like sweet and sultry, and like at the time my mom loved caramel bars, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like caramels are so great, chocolate queen, I'd be so sweet, and like it's a nod to the melanin, and like sort of, it's stupid, but yeah. And then I was just like, how could I like not namify, that's probably not the right word, but like how can I turn caramel into a name? And I was like, Carmel, and like kind of then Karmella came out, and I was just like, okay, well, caramel bar, Karmella Barr, okay, that kind of works. And then I wanted to have 2 R's because I felt like it was just like extra and just like sort of hammy to
Yeah.
have an extra R. And so I did that. But then the other reason, have either of you heard of Bad Girls Club, like the TV show?
Yes.
On Oxygen?
Yeah.
Okay. So it was season 8 that was filming at the time. And okay, Michaela, do you know like Bad Girls Club? Like, do I need to give a quick little synopsis?
I need a little bit of a synopsis. I've heard of it, but I don't know exactly what it is.
There's no Flavor Flav.
You are not incorrect. That is like actually it. So basically it's just like a trashy reality TV show, and like there's I think 7 original like castmates, and they all think they're like the baddest person or whatever. And when usually like the rule is if you fight you get eliminated and you like can't come, you leave the house, and there's a thing called a replacement that like replaces you in the cast. And basically on season 8 I like was on Reddit and like just looking up spoilers for season 8 because I was like invested in the show. And basically they were saying on season 8 there was like a replacement named Karmella, like Carmella, and I was like, that name is fierce. And then like it ended up being wrong, like the replacement's name was actually like Camila or something, but she was just like so stunning, statuesque, could hold her own in a fight, was just a gorgeous Black woman, and I'm just like, yeah, I could use that as a inspiration for Karmella, and like obviously I'm not fighting anyone, but definitely like the fierceness that she had was something that I was like, oh, I'm gonna transfer that over for sure.
Yeah.
The next question we had was who is your biggest inspiration in drag, but I think that kind of answers it.
Yeah, Bad Girls Club season 8.
Period.
Where it all starts.
Yes, honey.
Oh my gosh. No, I love that. I think that's so cool. I mean, I've always thought that your name was so cool. Like when I first started talking to you and when I first met you, I was like, that is a cool name. Like that is one of those ones that I'm like, oh, and it's easy to remember too, because it like, you get it with like the caramel bar, Karmella bar. Like
the amount of times though, I've had to like break it down for people. Like some people are like, I don't get it. I was like, really? You know? Have you
I'm
been
not
in
even
a convenience
Canadian
store?
and I get it. Girl.
Right? Like, that's
like,
kind of wild.
Here's a chocolate bar and here's me.
Yeah, just...
Ta-da!
Yeah. Here we go.
It's a full, like, 42 slide PowerPoint of slide 1.
Very that.
Oh my gosh, totally that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You were trying to do the next question?
You started to ask a question and then I didn't. So there you go. Go ahead.
Okay, well, the next question we have is, what would you like to see more of in your local drag scene?
Me.
Good answer.
No.
And slide 22.
Yeah, which leads me to another point. No.
Yeah.
I don't know. One thing that I do really enjoy is like, I enjoy seeing more performers out. Like, okay, wait, whoa. I enjoy seeing people thrive and enjoying drag. There are like so many drag performers in the city, and like before COVID, every time there was like a competition, that would be like a drag baby boom because like everyone would come out of the woodwork. And then COVID happened. No, seriously though, like everyone like came out, and that's fine. That's great for them. But like during COVID, we're all sort of like in our houses more or less. So the ability for people to like create and curate a drag persona was a little more easier. So like we have the idea of like the pre-COVID like drag baby booms, but that was like times like 4 because everyone was literally, that's all we could do to like kind of keep us sane and everything. So I think I would say we have a nice diversity of people in terms of like race, and like gender expression, which I really love. The only reason why it's hard is like there's so many new people. Like I feel like the old aunt that like needs to like constantly reintroduce myself to people, because every time I go to a show there's at least like one or two new people that I'm like, who are you again? Like not even trying to be rude, but it's like I don't know who you are.
What's your name? Samantha.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, I love that for you, Samantha. But yeah, I think just more gigs. I would like to see more drag kids thriving. I love being in sort of like the nightclub atmosphere and stuff, but what frustrates me is like so many young kids, like at Legends, I go to Legends and it's all ages, and like some kids are like, oh, we want to do drag, we love drag, all this stuff, and they like only have one show to go to, and that's Legends, which if you're in Vancouver, it's a lovely show. You should go to it. It's at Junction
I agree.
on Sundays. But yeah, I just think that they need more opportunity, especially as like a queer or rainbow child. Like that type of crap's super important, and I feel like we should make it as available as we can, because that can save some people's lives, you know? So I think it's super important.
Also, some of these kids can do things that I have not seen yet. Some of these kids can twist themselves into a pretzel and drop into a split, and I'm like, honey, yes, give it to me.
They're nimble.
Like,
they are
literally.
So nimble, yes. Yeah.
Flipping and flopping around.
They love to do the, cat-cat-cat-cats. Yes!
Yes.
It's wild.
They give,
their bones have not... They're bendy still.
Sure, yeah.
They're still bendy, and then there's all of us who are like, and go.
And my back is
stand
out.
up from bed and like creak and crack, like to walk
right?
to the living room. Like it's bad.
Me hitting physical therapy 3 times a week. I'm like, hold on, work,
Seriously.
honey, cover girl. Yeah.
Yes.
Me literally injuring my knee just from standing up the other day. I don't know what I did, but like, actually, no,
Michaela
legit.
had a mystery
We were filming.
injury
Okay,
for like
so
3
fun
weeks.
story. No, so fun story. Like I don't even think our podcast listeners know this yet because I haven't said it. But we were filming the podcast. DJ and I were sitting, and I was sitting on the floor in my living room. And I was just like finishing the podcast, and I hung up with DJ, and I went to get up, and you know when you like crack your knuckles and it makes like that knuckle crack sound?
Oh well, no, was it a pop though?
Well, okay, but here's the thing:
Ooh.
my knee made that noise. DJ,
Oh,
ew, DJ.
I love.
I was in the middle of a good story.
yes, seriously.
Jeez. Anyways, but yeah, so I went to get
Hold
up from sitting on the floor, and my knee made that noise, but like way louder to the point that it like freaked me out. And I was like, oh, and then I was like, that didn't sound good. Yeah, it was one of those things.
My favorite is when you hurt yourself and you're like, oh.
No, okay, but you know when you do that,
yes.
legit, and then you look and you're like, I wonder if that actually did anything, or if it was just like a random
Am I going to be able to
like,
stand tomorrow?
Exactly.
Actually,
and so
though.
I was like, oh, I'm fine. Like it didn't hurt, so I was like, I'm fine, no biggie, whatever. Anyways, was wandering around,
Michaela
kind of
then
just like walking
proceeded
around.
to fall down 20 flights of stairs.
No, I did not
kidding.
fall down 20 flights of stairs.
Oh, I was like, what? You buried the lead on that one.
No, but I was fully like perfectly fine, wandering around, you know, whatever. And then I like started to feel a little bit in my knee, and I was like, maybe that's just from like before, like overstretching it or whatever. And I looked down, and the whole side of my knee was swollen. And I was like,
Cool.
Yeah, I was like, that wasn't really a good plan. Oops.
Oh,
so yeah.
no.
So yeah, I have an injured knee, which is also fun. But yeah,
Do you have to wear a
funny.
brace? Like, do you do the brace thing?
Yeah, I
There's
got a
always
brace
that one girl that has the
of,
brace walking around.
Well, I had to. It's because I worked in customer service, so I'm moving all the time, and so it was like agitating it, and I couldn't bend down to grab things, and it was just a whole thing.
Like a Barbie Jeep, and like rode around in that, and then like, sorry, my knee is injured. Like
so
a kid
sorry, my
Barbie
knee's
Jeep.
injured. So sorry, my knee's injured.
Coming through, I need to get to the mascaras.
But it's funny that you were saying like we have like these kids in drag who are so like nimble and bendy, and they can do so many things that we
flopping
can't,
around
which is just,
like a
so
Magikarp
cool.
on the floor. I'm like, oof.
We love Magikarps.
We do.
It's also really funny. You keep segueing into what our next question was going to be, because our next question was going to be not magic carps. No, I was saying the conversation before. We were in a good.
You know,
spot
the one that's
before.
not about the War of 1812 by Michaela and her knee.
We're happy that you are here today to speak about the knee experience.
Thank you for opening up. I know it's really hard.
You're so very welcome. No, I was talking about the kids and how drag is is very important for kids. Why do you think it's so important that kids are exposed to the drag scene?
Yeah, well, like I said before, like I just think as a queer kid, I obviously knew like I was different, dare I say, like as a kid, but like I never really knew why or what that meant. And like, you know, getting sort of like the heteronormative like shenanigans all the time thrown at you. I don't know if it bothered me because it was like I knew that wasn't my reality, or if it bothered me because that's the default that people have. So it's like one of those two things that it sort of frustrated me in the sense that like either I'm mad that you're just assuming things about me and you don't know me, or I'm mad that like everyone just sort of feels like this is the only way to be a person. And I'm still kind of figuring that out as like an almost 30-year-old person. Like I truly don't know where my frustration lied. But I just thought that like seeing people that are unique or different in some realm that's similar to me, I think would have been nice to see just in my everyday life. And like I love the Disney Channel, and like someone that I really like gravitated to
Snow White and the Cinderella. I'm over it.
Oh, like, just like Cinderella is not so. Actually, I did like Cinderella, but
the Disney Channel, and then we go into Disney princesses. Jeez.
Yeah, like come on.
But it's always like some hot ass prince who's literally a twink who would like get this like basic ass girl, and I would just be like, what? Like, hello, here, hi, little 6-year-old me is like.
But it's very that though, and like I was just gonna say that like Raven from That's a Raven, her and I like I feel connected on a spiritual level just because she was so extra and like just the drama. Like there was just like so much camp and drama, and it was just like she's psychic, like her vision, like it was just a lot. It was everything I needed, and then she ended up like coming out later, and I'm just like we vibed, and like we had that psychic connection because we're both queer and black, and you know just doing the thing. And I thought that was really cool that I at least had someone who at the time I was at least straight presenting or hetero presenting, but even then, like in the future, it was like, oh, actually, you vibe with them so much because you might have more in common with them than you think. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, no, totally.
That's really cool. No, I was saying to someone the other day how, I mean, I think nowadays we're getting more representation for the different communities, and I think that that's really great and everything, but that when you look back in like times of TV and movies and stuff, I mean, Disney princesses and all that stuff, I mean, going back onto that because that's what DJ brought up, but the conversation of how the earlier princesses were all white, very skinny, like all of this stuff, and it took us a very long time to get to a point where we had some representation for a different community than what was being shown in that show.
And the thing is, so like I am all for representation of like I just diversify the house down boots. I live for that. The thing that frustrates me though is like most of the time I would give people the benefit of the doubt, but I do think they're well intentioned, but I do feel like now it's sort of like a gotta catch 'em all moment where it's like, oh, we have to have like a trans character, we have to have a black character and like this, that, but like it becomes like a we're checking boxes kind of thing.
Very.
And it's like also the reality is that not everyone's friend groups are like as diverse as they could and or should be. So there's also that layer to it. And like there's just so many things to think about. And it's like when you're casting for a movie, it's like making conscious decisions with like certain characters, like which characters are getting like the love storyline. Like I would rather see one, like for instance, Black person in a television show that has like a bunch of like realistic situations going on handled in a careful way than like 10 POC or diverse characters in whatever form, but it's just like a shallow,
and they're
like,
just kind of cast to the side.
Yeah, like they're just like, oh, like a sassy gay twink that's just like there to be kind of, you know, sassy, or like the trans person that's just there for like that storyline of like a main character or like another character, like, should I date a trans person? Like
Joey
it's just,
King.
but like it's very that, and it's just like, or we could have these people and like actually like nurture a reasonable story and like make it something juicy instead of just like, yeah, we have our trans person, we have our Black person, cool, great. It's like what you do and your intent with the story that counts as well. Like, and I don't want anyone to be like, oh, like Karmella doesn't want diversity. I've never said that. I just want the record to show I love the diversity. I think it's good. However, I would rather them being like producers and all those people. Like if you're going to do that, it would make more sense for you to have like a handful of diverse characters and like go through and make it a meaningful story arc instead of having like 20 that's just kind of sprinkled here and there just for the gigs, you know, for the S and Gs.
No, it makes complete sense for sure. I mean, it's lovely to be diverse, as they say, but also allowing stories to be told through the eyes of someone else in that kind of thing too is also important as well. And so I think that that's a really good point in saying that it's cool to have them there, but like give them a storyline that actually works with the conversation. Like,
well, and it's like, are you even talking about people in the community? Like, are you researching? You know, like, is it a cis person writing lines for like a gender nonconforming person or like whatever? And it's like, is that possible? Of course, I would not say it's not, but like in terms of, I don't think authenticity is necessarily the right word, but in terms of like accurately representing what that character could go through and putting it on screen so that people can relate to it and want to come to your movie or show or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's important. And it's more than just, it's more than a box. It's like, do the research and like hire, what's it called? Like think groups or something? I don't know.
Support groups?
Words. No, that's
no.
different.
not a support group.
No.
Not quite, Dean.
Like
not
think
quite.
tank type stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know the word, but yeah.
It's like when companies try to do Pride and they're like, hi, gay, sashay into deals because we're snatching those dollars, honey. And it's like,
yes.
You
better walk
whatever.
that duck.
Yeah,
well,
you better walk
funny.
that fucking duck into our store. And
no, it's actually funny that you brought that up because one of the companies that I used to work for asked me one time, they were like, we want to do something for Pride, but like we don't want to be like those people who just like put a rainbow out and be like, yo, hey, Pride, like kind of thing. Like we actually want to do something. And I was like, oh, okay, well, here's all this information about like, here's all your research, like all this stuff. Like I went into full detail.
Here are your charities. Like, here are your performers.
I literally said I was running social media for them, and I said, we're gonna put out a thing about charity for each. Like we'll have each set time for charities to go out about all these different LGBTQ charities. Like we're gonna go full force. If we're going full force, we're going full force. Like we're not just gonna be those people. We're not gonna be those people who change our logo to a rainbow.
Oh God!
Hi,
no. They change it on March like 30th or 31st. Change it, and then on July 1st we go back to the regular logo. So it's like, don't insult my queer intelligence.
Yeah, literally.
To like it's obvious when people do that because like there's some like, now that I'm, like, thinking, for instance, there's a bank nearby that's, like, always been sort of, like, queer, like, their, what's it called, like, advertising. It always has queer people or, like, diverse kind of logos and stuff. And it's just, like, that's awesome, and they're always in the Pride Parade. But then you get people, like, bandwagoning, and it's just, like, you literally just made, like, a rainbow ice cream, and you only sell it in June. But,
yeah,
like,
literally.
queer
Legit,
people
though.
are queer all year round. Same with, like, Black History Month. Like, the amount of, like, Black History Month thing, they put, like, the Kente print on, like, whatever, and they're just like, hey, Black, you matter. And it's, like, as nice as that is in theory, it's like, if you're only doing it for 28 or 29 days, what's the point?
Where is
you know what
the
I mean?
imprint?
Like,
where is the
like,
substance?
As nice as it is, I'm not saying they shouldn't do it, but I'm like, you don't only need to do it for a month. You don't need International Women's Day to be standing up for women's rights. You know, you don't need Indigenous Heritage Month to, you know, be a or not be representation, but like amplify Indigenous voices. Like, and that's what people aren't getting is they're like, everyone's kind of bandwagoning because like it's the day and like it's important to do it on the month or the day. I get that, but it's like it's an ongoing thing. Like people can't just pick and choose when they want to be an ally, you know?
Yeah, literally.
Well, absolutely. I think it's also kind of become a little bit apparent. I mean, more specifically for me this month alone, with seeing like, obviously because it is Black History Month and we're having a bunch of drag shows that are featuring the lovely Black artists of more specifically our Vancouver area. This is where I'm talking about most specifically. But I had a friend who went to one of the shows recently and said it was pretty dead. Like there was like not a lot of people coming to the shows. Like, y'all, like, why are we not supporting these wonderful creative people?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand.
Yeah. I would. Once you figure it out, honey, if you could do a press release, I would.
It's funny how, like, I mean, it's not funny. It's actually quite sad. But, like, now we're having, like, performances with mostly POC, and then you go after Black History, you know, this is what's going to happen after Black History Month. We're going to go back to our normal of having, you know, the sprinkled in POC and all that stuff, and people are going to come to the shows, but they won't come to a mainly POC cast show, which makes me so sad because y'all are fantastic performers, may I just say. So
I honestly don't know what it is. Like, I do think indirect racism would play a little part in it. Also, like, giving people credit where credit is due. Like, people are working and, like, they're, like, I do understand people can't make it to every show. Like, so, obviously, you know. But, like, it's just interesting to see where people make an effort and put time and attention into certain things. And like, I don't want this to come off as like a criticism because like I also like try my best to support where I can, but like when I get home at the end of the day, like after working, I just want to be home. And like I get not like being there, but like you can share things from your home, you can
right on
follow
your phone.
people, you can like, so there it's, if you are just not supporting these shows because, like, you can't, that's fine. You can't make it to everything. But it's like there are things everyone can be doing, whether that's sharing something, whether that's telling your friends about, like, this performer or whatever. Just, like, follow, comment on something, you know? And I think if more people did that, or if more people even, like, suggested friends like tip certain performers, that like that $5 from the like cover charge is also going to performers. So like if you just couldn't make it and you wanted to tip someone, you can Venmo or Cash App whatever amount, like even a penny if you really wanted to. But like I know not everyone's financially able to do that, but like a like is free.
A follow,
liking,
free,
sharing,
a
sharing your story. Instagram is such a good place now where you can literally just go and share someone's post
into your story. Literally write a thing, say, I would love to be able to go to this, but I can't, but you should be going, or like something like that, and like send it out. I mean, that is giving them support as much as it is going to the show. So I don't know. It's a thing.
I would like to figure it out. I do think RuPaul's Drag Race, like, I enjoy the idea of the program, but I do think it's
the execution.
Maybe I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Like, I just think that there's such a high expectation on a produced show, and like all the stuff that they're creating is like more or less awesome. And so there's no shade in that regard, but it's like people watch only, like, this happens all the time. Whenever there's a new season of Drag Race, I'm out and about doing drag like I've always been doing, more or less. Might be a little more or a little less depending on life. But if there's a season of Drag Race, there's always like a new gaggle of like usually heterosexual. I'm assuming they identify as women who are like, oh my gosh, like, I love drag. This is so fun. We're going to come here more. And just like, oh, you love drag? Like, cool. Like, who are your favorite performers? And they list like two
all
of the
Drag
people,
Race girls.
Yeah, that are on the current season too.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, so you literally just started your journey. You know that there's like 15 normal people seasons and like 7 all-stars, and then there's Thailand, Canada, Belgium now, France, like
all
Holland,
different places.
Like Spania.
I could keep going. Yes.
Also, the local girls are performers.
And then you come to the people that like are at the bars that you're like kiki-kaka-kaing over, but so that frustrates me a little bit. Like, I do think I love that drag is now more mainstream, but I also at the same time hate it because the people, I feel like it's turning into more of a sideshow attraction than wow, this is a cool art form.
Yeah.
Because like it can be like not sideshow attraction, but like it can be like just an entertaining thing.
It's a cool thing also, to look at, like, to do, but it's like people put a lot of time and effort into their garments or their performances trying to express a message. Yes. And people are like, oh, cool, look at that. Here's $1. And it's like,
or they
right,
talk
Becky.
to you, then they compare you to like someone like, I'm like, you look like so-and-so. And I got Latrice one time and I was like, honored. I was honored though. I was just like, thank you. And I wasn't even in drag. I was just like, we're not even like tall. But then that leads me to another point. The amount of times I get confused for other Black performers in the city.
Yep. I've seen it happen. I have seen it happen.
Yes.
I have seen it happen, everybody.
And it is wild. Like, my complexion is like a little more on the like deeper side, I would say. I'm getting confused with Mix, who's like significantly like not significantly, but like very different skin tone to me.
Yeah.
Rich L, I'm getting confused for. Vixen, Von Flex, and I
know Vixen.
We're like, I love Vixen.
Vixen's great.
We call each other like we're twins. I call her my twin sister on my phone. Just because everyone's always like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know you could do like the splits or like handstands." I was like, "That was not me."
The other house.
Vixen's upside down all the time.
I think it was Mixed Bookaroo that someone said something and they were like, oh, I didn't know that you did this or whatever. And it was definitely something you had done. Like, I'm 100% positive.
Like,
because I definitely had been there. I definitely was there. I definitely remember it happening. And they were like, oh, I can't believe that Mixed Bookaroo did this. And I was like, that was Karmella.
Yeah,
like, guys, y'all, please.
Yes. And then, Belladonna I've gotten confused for. And, I'm not upset to be confused with these performers because they're awesome. But it's, all of our makeup is, different. I have...
Different.
I use my natural brow and do, a subtle thing. Mix sometimes doesn't even have brows. Vixen's brows are, usually, angled like this.
I'm legit.
Very different facial features. It's
there
wild.
are lots of differences, y'all. It's very easy to tell people apart. I'm sorry to tell you.
But it's like, I would understand, like, if you, like, just took a quick look and be like, oh, is that so-and-so? Like, yeah. But to, like, in your mind, make up that this is the other person when it's like, if you register more and take time to think before it comes into your mouth, it's like, ooh. Because there have been times when I have confused other performers as well. Like, I'm not saying it doesn't happen to me too, but like, I think in my mind.
But it's like the difference between conscious and like.
Yes. And then I would ask a friend, like, I ask a friend, I'm just like, is my mind playing tricks on me, or is that so? Because I don't know. They're painting a little differently.
It's like
I don't know.
It's like Tiffany and BB. They get confused all the time because they look so similar.
They literally wear name like chokers.
They literally had to. They
BB.
have their own name chokers now because they got so confused all the time that they're like, now we all have our names. I'm like,
the only thing that would be like similar about them is like they both dance and they have like wear similar types of costumes. So like sure. And like their hair can be similar-ish sometimes too. But other than that, it's like.
Come on, y'all. Get it together.
They look different. Like they're
completely different.
I think it's more like on the rounder side. Mm-hmm. And like, I think Tiffany's is a little more like on the ovally side. Like, it's just, there's so many things.
Yeah.
That are
there are ways to tell like differences from your performers, y'all.
Yeah, so like if you're talking to someone and go, oh, are you Violet Chachki? It's like, really?
Yeah, I started to just say yes. Like if someone's like, oh, like, yeah, you look so handsome. I'm like, yes, thank you for being here. Like,
yeah, $20 for a photo.
Yeah, tag me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care anymore. Like, I mean, I do care, but point. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So, speaking of shows and upcoming things, can you tell us about your upcoming projects?
Oh my gosh, I'm glad you asked, DJ. I'm glad you asked. So I have a lot of fun things planned. I am now officially announced as a candidate for something called MPREX, which is super exciting. And basically that is a DMS or Dogwood Monarchist Society title, and basically it's an elected position where you get a chance to dedicate your year to raising money for charities, and I believe you can choose 4 to 5. I can't remember how many we're allowed to choose, but yeah. And we are going to hopefully raise money for charities. I have lots of plans to, like I said, like bring the next generation and usher them in, give them more opportunities to thrive. Many charities I want to focus on are Indigenous and Black focused, POC focused in general actually, and youth focused as well. Should I say possible names or is that weird? I don't know.
You can if you want to.
No, yeah.
I'll like asterisk this by saying it's not official because like should I become elected and another person becomes elected as well, we would have to collaborate.
Well, and we'll definitely put if you want to shout them out, we can definitely put them in our bio too. Our link to them.
Sure. So. Yeah. So definitely Health Initiative for Men is a really great local organization that helps gender nonconforming people as well as people who are assigned male at birth with their sexual health journey. So that's awesome. And then I was thinking Urban Native Youth Association, Water First, which is an Indigenous-focused charity that is providing clean water to many nations, as well as giving, I believe it's schooling and jobs, like maintaining the clean water, which I was like really happily surprised by because I thought that was cool. And then possibly Rainbow Refugees and like getting queer people from unsafe places to come here. And
Michaela knows Rainbow Refugee.
Yes.
I used Rainbow Refugee was the charity that my first drag show that I hosted. Our number at the end and also some of our sales went to Rainbow Refugee. So.
Nice. Yes. And I love that. And I think what I like about Rainbow Refugee too is that like it's, I think they call them circles or something, if I'm not mistaken. You can like sponsor like a literal specific person or like a specific 2 people. And I think that's just so cool. And Out in Schools is another one that I'm hoping to use as a beneficiary because they really they do a lot of work in providing the rainbow ideology for the districts and stuff, and it's super important. And
please teach your kids to be good human beings.
Bare minimum, like
literally,
it's not hard. It's really not hard.
True facts. Yeah.
And then what else do I have going on? I'm trying to think. It's Black History Month. I guess by the time this is official, it's not going to be anymore.
Unfortunately not,
but
our bad.
It's filmed on Black History Month. Let the record show.
That is true.
And so I have lots of opportunities to do shows throughout the city. Please follow my Instagram. Can I plug my IG?
We have one more question before you.
We have a specific spot for you to do that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So we like to end all of our interviews with this question, and we feel like it's a really important question because so both DJ and I are drag performers in our respective areas, and we just want to know what advice do you have to either people who are wanting to try drag or people who are just getting into drag?
Don't do it.
Oh God.
Stop immediately.
Cut to us talking about our list of injuries.
And that's Karmella, everybody.
Right. Okay, so what I'm about to say is not meant to come off as shady, but it might. So we'll deal with that. We'll deal with the follow-up should we need
asterisks here.
Yes. I think drag is 100% for everyone. I think everyone should explore it. Whatever that means to you, go for it. Live that fantasy. I don't if you are someone that is just wanting to do drag as like a Halloween time or just like a one-time thing, love that for you. But it is something that has the potential to be very maybe serious is the wrong word, but hopefully you kind of understand what I'm trying to get at. So if you are someone that is serious about making it a career, definitely talk to other performers, have a level of humility and kindness to you. Know that how performers act on Drag Race, that's a produced person. So yes, they are acting like that, but that's not necessarily how all drag performers act. And so that's one part of it. And then the other part I would say is just not everything is going to be given to you. So definitely you might have to have a moment of spotlighting where many performers, if you talk to performers in the city, they've always spotlighted, which means you do a number for free essentially. So don't be afraid to do that, and don't expect to get paid gigs and high paying gigs nonetheless right away, because
our drag sister needs to hear that one.
Ooh!
Not that.
Say names,
do not be shady.
Nathaniel motherfucking Minx, you hear that, bitch?
Oh my god.
We love our drag sister very much.
Love is a strong word. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, sorry to take your little moment.
No, that's totally fine. I'm used to it. You're really rude. Get back here, DJ. Show yourself. Show yourself.
You can have fun with my wig head. She'll be taking my calls from now. She'll be taking my calls.
I was gonna say we should talk about your room decor. I think.
Okay, this is my office. This is my office. This is not my bedroom.
Totally,
yeah,
but I think that's a good point in saying you were just talking about how people need to realize that you're not always going to get the high paying gigs right away, and that's a good point. I was talking to one of our other drag artists in Vancouver a couple of days ago, and they were talking about how people have to realize that first of all, if you're going to ask for a spotlight spot, please talk to the performer and go to their shows before you ask for a spotlight spot. I'm sorry, that drives me absolutely crazy. Please support the people.
I love that you're saying that, and I think it's so true. And like, I've had someone or many performers like message me prior to them even following me or like liking a picture or anything, and they're like, "Oh, I see you're hosting this."
It's
night.
like a pyramid scheme, like reach
yeah,
out, like,
and it's funny because like I would like rarely have I ever like explicitly been like, "Oh, absolutely not." Like I will always more or less, unless it's like 30 people, like I will let pretty much everyone in. But it's just like I even like said to them, I was just like, "You for real didn't even like pretend to like follow me or like anything?
You
but like
didn't even
see
read
you
my
on
bio.
Friday, girl." Yeah,
yeah. Like,
but I had to be a little sassy because like
you
I thought
better
it was
turn
just
it,
funny.
diva.
Yes, yes, but yeah, it was funny. But yeah, just like follow them or at least like start with
Get
the hi
to know
and just,
them.
like,
Yeah,
if I could.
I'm
yeah.
interested in doing this, but also like go to their show, like introduce yourself, talk to them. I mean, like that's one thing that has happened with me is like I've been able to go to so many shows and meet so many people, and I mean that's also helped us with this podcast. I mean, me reaching out to Karmella and being like, "Hey, I have a podcast. Would you be interested in being on it?" Like,
yes.
I wouldn't have just done that randomly and been like, "Yo, hi, I'm Michaela. Would you like to be on my podcast?" Randomly, I've never seen you in my life.
Yeah, you have to have like a relationship-ish, and it could even be a working relationship. Like, but yeah, I totally agree. I think that's a good point. But yeah, follow the people you are trying to get gigs from. To be fair though, like, yeah, not everyone can make it to everything, like I said before, but like
making the effort. Yeah,
make an effort. Do something. Please.
Something. Follow, share, like, subscribe, whatever.
Click the bell to be notified every time.
Oh my gosh.
Click the link above.
Yeah, I'll put my other 72-minute video in the iCard above. Make sure to go watch it after this one, okay? Let's get back to making how to make a rhinestoner for your dog. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Very good.
Anyway, so as this interview comes to a close, this is your moment. Plug all of the socials. Where can we find you?
Okay. So voting day is the 4th. And at this point, you would have all voted, and you would have voted for me, because I would really appreciate that. There are some amazing other candidates, but I need to be selfish and say, please vote for me, Karmella Barr. Even though it is irrelevant because this is after voting day. But thank you. Please follow at DMS Vancouver to get your ticket for many DMS events. I would hope to be seeing you at all of them in the future. You can follow me at Karmella Barr, KarmellaBarr on Instagram, and I have a highlight reel of the DMS and the voting and my campaign and sort of the things that I plan to do. We kind of talked about it a little earlier in the podcast, but if you needed a refresher, please go check that out. Karmella Barr is also my Facebook too, should you want to contact me there. I'm not going to give you my phone number. And yeah, just reach out on either of those platforms, and should you want to book me for an event or something, I can give you my email at that time too.
Alrighty. So we just want to thank you so much for being on the podcast. We really appreciate you coming on here. We hope that everything that you do in the future is successful and makes you happy.
Thank you. I love it. Oh, that's so nice. Thank you. And ditto. Thank you so much for being understanding and working with my schedule. Life has been kind of wild right now, but I am so happy that we got to do this, and I'm looking forward to hanging out another time.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that interview with Karmella. I know we did. That interview was good. Girl, we talked about a lot of stuff. Like,
we did.
That was a good interview. So if you didn't listen to it and just skip to hear my voice, I don't know what you're doing. And also maybe bring that up with someone that you trust. But yeah, I think that kind of wraps it up for us today. Definitely come back for our Drag Race Fantasy Draft Scores. Onomatopoeia, bitch. And another great interview this week, plus so much more. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say. So we will see
DJ.
you all. Yeah, Michaela.
You forgot to tell everybody about our socials.
I know. I do it on purpose at this point. Can you tell them about it?
Sure I can. So, you can find us on our Instagram at We Are So Not Straight Pod, on Twitter at Not Straight Pod, on TikTok. I have been posting on TikTok, so nobody can tell me I'm not posting on TikTok, so you better go follow it. I have. Thank you. So go follow us on TikTok, which is We Are So Not Straight Pod, just like our Instagram. I made it super easy for y'all to find us. So go find us, give us a follow.
The thing about our name is that, like, no one else is gonna take it. Like, Trixie Mattel is like Trixie Mattel 8 on stuff. Like,
I know. Nobody's gonna take ours because A, it's long, and B, nobody wants to. So, so we're really easy to find. We Are So Not Straight Pod on TikTok. On our YouTube channel, which is where you are right now. So if you don't know where you are right now, you should probably go talk to someone you care about and tell them you love them. Anyways, our YouTube channel is We Are So Not Straight Podcast. That's where you can find all of our interviews from season 1 of the podcast with the cast of Call Me Mother season 2, as well as all of the interviews that we have done this season. There are some great interviews. We've talked about family. We have talked about representation. We've talked about queer joy, and many other topics. So there is something for everybody. So you will find an interview somewhere in those interviews for everyone. So please go follow us on there. I mean, subscribe to us, give us some thumbs up, share with your friends, families, strangers. Really, I don't care, just share. Please go do that. We're trying to get more people subscribing to us on there, so we would love for you to do that and share with your friends. Thank you so much. All right, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, bits of rage, or suggestions, you can email us at wearesonotstraight@gmail.com. All this information will be down in the description box below. Okay, TJ, you can finish the outro.
Well, as I was saying, I hope you all have a fantabulous rest of your time zone, and we will see you all in the next one. Mwah! Bye!
Bye!